So if you have a vintage Kurzweil K1000 synthesizer keyboard from the 80s, and probably by now yours have a busted LCD backlight too, and you want to replace it like from this to this, but you don't know how, stick around because maybe this video can help you. Hi, I'm Keyboardmac. So I got this very old vintage keyboard slash piano slash synthesizer from an online Japan surplus store for a very fair price. This is the Kurzweil K1000, a very popular model during the late 80s and has really the classic tones of the signature sounds from the 80s and 90s that you hear on the radio. The songs and artists in that era probably used this keyboard. Yeah, it really sounds great and realistic, especially the piano samples. And the weighted keys, man, the key bed really feels great and plays great too, even up to this day. The build quality is really superb, literally. It's built like a tank, so they say. So probably that's why it survived after all these years. But the problem is you can hardly see what it's written on the LCD display anymore because the EL backlight of this thing is already burned out or busted. So I'm going to try to replace it with a modern LCD that has the same specs as the original, but with the advantage of the LED backlight. So here we go. So during my search in order to solve this problem, I stumbled upon this website called Instructables that specifically talked about the Kurzweil K1000 replacement or the LCD replacement, on how to replace or how to modify the old LCD into the modern LCD with a LED backlight. So I dive into it and I got these specs and the pins. The specs are the same, but the pin configuration is different. So as you can see here in the diagram or in the table. And also another problem is the size of the PCB of the new LCD that needs to be cut in order to fit into the display panel of the Kurzweil K1000. So that's the tricky part also. But the problem on that post on that website is that it did not show the finished product or the end result of that project or modification. So this video is going to justify or give justice to that post that it is really working and effective. So let's get on with it. So we're going to turn off now the power. Remove this power jack and how to open the Kurzweil 1000. She's going to lift this front cover simultaneously. There. So this is what's inside of the Kurzweil K1000. And here is the display, the button panel and the display panel. This is the connector of the display panel. And we're going to remove the screws. Okay. So I removed already the screws. Just a lot of that. And here is the display panel with a button panel. So here's a Seiko, an old model of the display, and we're going to replace it with this from online. This is different pin configs, but I found a source online that it has the same specs but in different pin configs. So we're going to remove this and these screws and we're going to rewire this to this. So as you can see, So this is now the panel removed, and I've tested it. Even it is open, and as you can see, the keys are working. And since here's the Omni, and this is what this one we're going to convert the pin configurations for that to this one. So now I'm gonna measure how many volts is what is the voltage here. So I'm going to assume that this is an AC line because it has no color coding. The wire has no color coding, so it must be a high voltage AC supply. So I'm going to put AC to set my tester to AC, and let's put the prods here. Press prods. So it reads there 71.6 volts AC. So it's a high voltage supply, because in the 80s the LED backlight is still not available. They use a high voltage LC or LE to supply the backlight of these LCD displays back then. So I'm probably going to convert this to, I'm going to remove this instead for safety purposes, because this is a high voltage supply and it's not needed anymore. So I'm going to remove this from the connector from down there and make a new supply for this, because this is just a 5 volt DC. So now I remove the connector for the AC line here. This is connected there a bit under the keys. So this is the one. So as you notice that when I remove this, the display is still on. So this is really for the backlit, and we're going to convert that. And as you can see, the keys are still working, so this is not needed. So now all the screws have been removed. The connectors also been removed. This is the pin config, but unfortunately there's no labels. I cannot see any labels in here. This is that's at the back, and we're going to see the data sheet of this Seiko M1632. Let's see the display and see the data sheet. It's number 1 to what pin is number 1. So we can compare this here, guys. Compare with here, the pins have labels, as you can see that. And upon seeing the website here from the Instructables website, for the key M1632 versus the modern 1602 displays. So that's the pin config. One is DB8, so our ground will be 13. The ground of the Seiko is 13, and the ground for the new LCD is 1, and the LEDs, the backlit supply is 15 to 16. So that in LC it's separated. So we're going to swap these positions. Okay, so this one was the burned out backlit of the Kurzweil K1000 display from the Seiko M1632. So after running into some problems like lost contacts in here and in the configuration of the pins, I finally got this LCD to work, and Here it is. In the screen is maybe because of the lights, but it's here in the actual, it's really clear. And I put the temporary pot volume control for the contrast, so I could adjust the contrast, because my problem a while ago was that I did not put a contrast pin here, and the LCD was all display are all squares. So now when I adjust this, the display will now correct that. When I didn't put anything, it's like that. And when I attach this potentiometer, now it's, see, a little bit, just a little bit, and there you go. Here's the clear. I'm going to measure the resistance here, so if it's okay, I'll just put a resistor, so I don't need to put a potentiometer. So yeah, here it is. So next step is for this to fit in here. As you can see that there are 2 or 3 that is going to hit this one. So I'm probably going to cut this portion over here, so we can put it on the display hole, where it belongs. So that's my next step, so stick around. So I got the value of this potentiometer here, so I already removed the potentiometer wiring from here. The reading is about 3K, 3.7, 3.2K. So I just made a resistor out of it. I connected to the V0 to ground here. Is that clear or not? So I solder it to the other side, V0 and ground. Here it is, 3K, and let's test it. Let's test if what will be the contrast, if the contrast is okay or not. So well, that's great, that's good guys. The contrast is just right. See, 3K. I put a 2.2 resistor and a 1K resistor here, 2.2 and 1K, and it's looking good. So I'm going to cut this now. This is my next step, and hopefully I can put it in the PCB. So here is the end result for that, for cutting this one. I hope this one will fit now. Here's the other side of the PCB. So I'm going to try to measure this to the panel if it's now okay. The problem is this: if it's still blocking, this will be cut off, and that's a really nightmare. So I'll try to measure this to the panel. Upon doing a test install, you can see the PCB there, but I hope you can see the PCB in there. So let's see in the front panel. So upon doing a test mount, I think it's just placement is just right. When the tape here this is just a tape, but in the edge corner here on the lower corner, since I will be looking at like that, I think I can see that there's a bit of the metal frame of the LCD is extruding a little bit, but I think this will just be fine. because I'll be looking like that, so in the angle where I'm playing, so it's still visible. So yeah, I think I'm gonna mount this now, and I'm going to test the LCD again if she's still alive. So here it is, ladies and gentlemen, after a couple of troubleshooting, because of the first attempt of reconnecting, this one did not. There is no display. There's a LED, but there's a backlight, but there is no display because probably of this one line was cut in the PCB, so you have to put a jumper there. This one here to here, the SMD resistor, and after doing that, the display finally came back again. So now I'm gonna try to mount this now to the panel board, button panel. Here I made new holes for the new PCB and hope it will fit, and let's testing. So here it is, after drilling holes, I finally got it to stick in here. So here is a cut, here's our cut, and this one I left blank because there's a circuit below, so I did not bother to cut it. So 3 screws are even enough for this. So I'm gonna try this to mount this away. So here it is now, it's mounted to the display, the button panel. And here are the screws, and I put the screws ready for the panel to be fixed. So here's what it looks like in the front panel, and let's see if it has a display, but I'm still going to put maybe a tape here for safety purposes. But if this will work, I will now end this vlog and just do a quick modification later. But the most important thing here is that it works, that the modification works. So let's try to power on and see what happens. You see it's moving, and there it is. Behold our display. It's a little bit blurry here in the video, but in personal it's clear. My camera is so bright. Let's turn off the lights. And there it is for better angle. So here this one needs a little adjustment to the left, but I will leave it at for now. I will adjust that, but yeah, it's good enough for now. So here it is now with the button connectors and other connectors are connected. Now here is what my temporary mounting will be here. From here we go to there, and I put made a little barrier here, so it will hold these wires, so it will not move. Put a tie here, and I'm gonna retain, if this will work, I'm gonna retain this position for now and do another modification later. Fix it. So I'll try to power on. Yeah, it's working. Now I'm gonna turn it off and put this piano in playing position. So here now is the Kurzweil K1000 in its normal cover position for playing mode. So let's try to turn on the power and see the display. There it is. There it is, guys. Wow. It needs a little adjustment here, to go there, so this one, the number of this one will be visible. But for now, this is okay for me now. I'm good with this for now, and I can't wait to play. I'm gonna play now, but the default mode is in grand piano. Obviously, let's try to test the programs. The display will change. So fast strings. Oops, that's the wrong button. Let me adjust my choir vibes. This is the trumpet, baritone, clarinet, the organ, this organ, the piano. This is the so there it is, guys. It proves that this is still not finished, but I'll end this blog for now because this answers the question for that modification, and I think I did justice for that. So I hope they like this video and give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel and keep on playing. Keep your Kurzweil K1000 alive. Take care, guys.